and welcome back to the channel. It's true, my name is Norf, and before you start creating any video content, join an online meeting or a conference call with your camera on, think slacker. Oh, no, I'm not calling you a slacker. Gracious, perish the thought. What I said was SLACCA. It's an acronym, and there's a gargantuan difference between the two. So before you consider writing harsh comments below, as is customary on the channel, and let's extinguish your curiosity, strap yourselves in and let's get started. Welcome to the first in this video series that I've called Phygital Skills. Norf, have you just created a new word? No, I've just mashed two words together, and the two words are simply physical and digital. Simply put, this is about physical skills that we can use in our digital online world, and I'm calling these phygital skills. As we get going in the first of this series, we're going to unpack the acronym SLACCA. When thinking about online meetings or conf calls, or you're prepping to create video content, think about the acronym SLACCA. Yes, SLACCA. S.L.A.C.C.A. And SLACCA stands for space, light, audio, camera, clothing, and accessibility. I'll also leave chapter markers so you can jump to the sections that you feel are most relevant to you. First, let's jump into space. When it comes to your space, you may be fortunate enough to have a big workspace. If that's the case, this part may not affect you too much. I sit in a 6x6 box I call a tight spot, and my workspace is actually quite small. It also doubles up as my studio too, specifically recording audio and video content alike. When I'm on conference calls with my video live, I sit facing my Mac this way. If I'm recording any video content, just like this video for example, I've managed to set myself up with my camera in the corner, so I shoot corner to corner. Why? This provides me with the longest possible distance in this tight spot. It makes my space optically look nice and large. So if you can, avoid shooting wall to wall and shoot corner to corner instead, especially if you're shooting in a tight spot just like I am. Obviously be sure that your space is quiet, away from the soft clicks and hums of fans and other big electrical equipment. Visually, make your space as interesting as possible using light and a few things around you. So for example, in this video I've got a couple of lightsabers behind me, I'm using my screen that's just over here, and it means that the space and the things that you see look relatively interesting. I've also got some lights on in the background, again adding some texture into the space that I'm in. I found that these things in the background tend to spark conversation, specifically when I'm on conference calls or if I'm recording video content just like this. If you have things moving in the background, just be sure that they don't cause distractions. Speaking of distractions, wherever possible, try to keep them down to a minimum. The second letter in my acronym SLACCA stands for light, so do consider how you'll be seen on your conference call, specifically if your video's on. Do you have the light above you, below you, at the sides? Natural light, of course, is very cheap, and if you can, harness it. In my space, off to my left-hand side, I've got a large window, and this floods my space with natural light when I'm working. It used to be a bit of a challenge when I was creating video content with natural light coming in, because the light would often tend to be inconsistent. For conference calls, I would say that the natural light coming in is absolutely fine. But if you're unable to use natural light, consider getting a small panel light or a ring light. I have a small video light off to my left when I'm taking conf calls late into the afternoon or into the evening, and this illuminates the left-hand side of my face really nicely. It also stops me looking like a mysterious, crazy loon, though some say that I look like that anyway. It's not very nice, is it? In terms of positioning, ideally that light needs to be at about a 45-degree angle above you, so the light will fall really nicely on your face, giving you a very flattering look. In my case, it also hides my multi-chin. I used to use natural light, but I found I was restricted because I could only record at certain times of the day. So I saved up some cash and I bought myself an LED panel light. If you're interested, I'll post a video just up here of that panel light and how I've set it all up. The first A in SLACCA stands for audio, the most important component of any video in my humble opinion. When you're on your conference call or you're creating video content, get a decent wired or, in my case, wireless headset. For my conf calls, I go to my headset of choice, which is the Jabra Elite Active 65T Bluetooth earbuds. For me, there's no need to upgrade as mine still work perfectly, they're comfortable, have a great sound, and are quite subtle. Either on-ear or over-ear headsets will work a treat when you're on your conf call. It does obviously come down to personal preference. Also, be sure to grab a decent microphone if you're recording video content. I started with the Rode Video Micro, which was superb. My go-to microphone is now the Deity VMic D3 Pro. I find it's a solid performer and absolutely love it. I love the way it captures the idiosyncrasies in my voice, and the performance of the microphone itself is great. When it comes to creating voiceovers, my go-to microphone is the Audio-Technica AT2020 USB. If you're on a budget, you may consider some of the Fine series of mics. I created a review not too long ago and really rated their K678 USB microphone. I'll leave links in the description so you can check those out should you wish to. The first of the two C's in SLACCA stands for camera. Now, I'm 99% sure you don't need to go out or order the latest camera and lens combo from one of the big brands to enable video on your conf calls. Not that I'm saying that you shouldn't, of course. However, you may choose to spend the cash elsewhere. I dare say that you really don't want to suffer from gas. No, not that kind of gas. I'm talking GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome. For 99% of my conference calls, I use the built-in camera on my MacBook Pro. However, I do have my Mac on a laptop stand. It's great practice to have your computer raised so that the camera is at eye level for a number of reasons. Initially, it prevents people looking up my nose and seeing how many brain cells I have left, and no one really needs to see that. Not at all. Trust me, it's one of those things you can't unsee. Secondly, it also helps maintain good physical posture when I'm sat down. And good posture is something that we all need to take into account when we're working from home. The second of the two C's in SLACCA stands for clothing. When I'm on camera for my conference calls or if I'm creating any video content, I like to use block colors, mainly for two reasons. Too many colors could cause your video feed to look a little bit odd, so best practice leads me to just use simple block colors. And the second reason is block colors don't cause distractions. And we've talked about distractions earlier, haven't we? Finally, the last A is a bit of a bonus. Sorry, let me clarify. It doesn't stand for a bit of a bonus, it stands for accessibility. In a world where video is ubiquitous and prolific, and each of us in effect carries around a TV screen in our pockets, we need to be cognizant of the fact that some of us will watch and listen, others will prefer to watch and read dependent on where they are. And this is where we need to add captions and subtitles into our video content. There are some great tools that have been created for both computer and smartphone alike that will allow us to add captions and subtitles to our video content. Personally, I use Adobe Premiere Pro on my MacBook Pro to add captions and subtitles to my content. YouTube's engine allows for closed captioning for content uploaded there, for example, and for any content I create for other platforms, I'll add subtitles. If I'm creating video content using my smartphone, I use an app called SubCap. It works a treat for me, so be sure to consider your audience and how they will consume your video content. And that's it for this week. That kicks off the first in this mini-series called Phygital Skills. Skills that cross the physical-digital divide. It's a really simple acronym to have in mind. Just think SLACCA. Yes, SLACCA. Space, light, audio, camera, clothing, and accessibility. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time here. Let me know in the comments if you'll be thinking SLACCA when it comes to your next conference call, online meeting, or you start creating any video content. Whilst you're also leaving a comment, you may know that I'm a massive fan of the number 3, so if you would, please do 3 things for me. If you like the content, please do give me a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on the next exciting installment of the Phygital Skills series right here. Again, thank you so much for choosing to spend your time here, and I'll see you in part 2. That's it for this week. That kicks off the first in this mini-series that I'm calling Phygital Skills. Skills that will bridge the outtakes.